going to go over the importance of mat work, or boundary, we'll call it. Different things. It's the same game, but it just depends if we're asking for it to be a boundary so that your dog stays on that spot. Mat work it's the exact same game, but just mat work is just if your dog's chilling out. So boundary is more when we're trying to make sure that your dog's staying in a spot. For example, you don't want them in your kitchen, so the boundary would be the mat. Same game, we just use different names depending on why. So the reason that we teach this primarily in puppy class is actually for calmness. It's really good to let them chill down. You'll see it when you're playing it. You should feel relaxed. You should see your puppy relaxing into the game. You can promote it to be relaxing by the way that you deliver your food. They're on the same spot, and it's just a nice way to make sure that your puppy has a safe place to go. You can take a mat out and about with you. That's why we ask it to be something portable, like a blanket or a little mat that you can take with you wherever you go with your puppy. And it's a nice that you can just put it down and your puppy has information from you that's nice, chilled out. They can relax now. They don't need to be working, don't need to be thinking about what's happening next. It's also really good to stop people approaching your dog, because most people have been taught not to approach a dog on a bed or a sleeping dog. In the future, your dog may choose to sleep on their mat when you are out and about, and it's a nice way of making sure that people don't approach your dog and you, again, can have a wee bit of downtime. So we use this a lot, and you can take it to like the pubs, you can go to restaurants and have it just down at the side. If you're going to cafes, if you're visiting friends, family houses, again, it just pops down, your dog can chill out next to you, and you can interact with your person that you're with without having to worry too much about giving instruction to your dog. For the calmness, lots of puppies, you'll see that they are either way up here, wild, or they're out of it, zonked. So they go from one extreme to the other, and they don't have that little bit in between. That's what mat work's trying to promote, just that kind of like, you're chilled, you're relaxing, sitting like you guys would be sitting watching your TV, reading a book or whatever it is that you do as your downtime, and your dog will just chill out as well, so they can get that information from you. The mat is just a visual cue. Once you've charged it up, you'll see that in the game. We talk about how to do that in the game. But once it's there and it's information for your dog that it's okay to switch off, that's your space, chill out. It's literally like a portable little bedroom you can take around with you, pop it down, and your dog can chill out and have some time off from whatever it is that you're doing. We have a lot of people that use this for agility dogs, if they've got show dogs. Multi-dog households use this for all different purposes, but it really is just a switch off so that your dog can go and chill. They don't have to be on waiting for the next cue from you. It's just a nice place for your dog to go. It's excellent to take out and about with you, because it's just information to them straight off. You don't have to be spending your whole time instructing them on what to do. Again, it's really good to stop people approaching your dog. So if you do have a nervous dog, it gives them the confidence that they know in this space they're safe and nothing's going to happen to them. So it lets your dog start to build their confidence out and about, and they're not going to be bombarded with people coming up to them. You'll see that with a puppy. Everyone wants to speak to a puppy. Even people that are not really into dogs, they are into puppies. Everyone wants to talk to a puppy. So when they're on a space that's quite obviously marked out, they're less likely to come up and approach them. There's a lot of things that you'll see it when you're playing the game, but it's quite important when you are doing your mat work that you are calm. So don't do this in a time where you're already frustrated. If you've had a hard day with your puppy, that's not the day that you would sit down and do your mat work. You don't want to have any sort of stress around this sort of game. This is a nice, chilled out, relaxed game. Everything about it should be relaxed. You should feel relaxed playing it, and if you're slightly stressed when you're starting it, you should fall into a relaxed state when you're playing this game. You should see your puppy relax into it. Obviously at the start, when you start playing this game with them, they have no idea what it is, but it's quite a nice one that you will see. Your puppy will pick up very quickly. They'll relax into the game. They sort of just go into a nice chilled behaviour just by the way that we play the game with them. And you will see that in the videos. There's hand placements and things like that are important for getting calmness. So you're not actually asking your dog to do anything. You won't be verbalizing anything to them. It is literally the mat going down and you working with your dog and the mat that gets the behaviour you're looking for, which is a nice calm dog on a space that can be moved around with them safely as well. It's excellent as well if you're going to have a dog that goes to the groomers and things like that. If they don't cope well with being in a cage, that mat can go with them for things like going to the groomers. The mat can go and they can chill out on their mat whilst they're getting dried or whatever it is that has to happen with them. So it's an all-round, you can use it for loads of different things. If you've got a multi-dog household, you can use it if you want to work with one dog. The rest of them will be on their boundaries at that point. So we would call them boundaries because we're asking them to be in a particular area. You can have them down if you've got a busy household, so that you can just pop it down in the corner. Your dog can go away over there if they need to. You can use it for lots of different things as well, not just in a training like one-to-one you and your dog. You can give them their Kongs on there. You can give them a long-lasting chew, so you can promote them to chill out on their own as well. So we use this when we're working with dogs that are suffering with separation anxiety as the very first part of them being alone and away from their owner. So you can do it really gradually. Your mat's here, your owner can move really, really slight away from them. So again, it's a nice introduction into something that some dogs would feel quite traumatized by, like their owner just walking away. The mat work allows us to gradually do that, and your dog's loving their mat so much they don't really mind at the things that are changing around them. So that's why this is so important, and we have a lot of people that come into our class and they don't see the importance of it because it's not a really fast-paced game. There's lots of games that you'll see as you progress through the program that you'll see it instantly. You'll see your dogs getting it. You get encouraged by that, so those are the games that you'll stick to more. This game is like for the long haul. This is for your life with your dog. All the games are lifelong, but this is the one that will serve you throughout life at every stage with your dog. Whether you're taking them to restaurants, if you're going to see friends, if you're going to see friends that have new babies in the house, lots of things that are going to change in your life with your dog. The mat work will be there as a foundation that you can use to take with you and manage new environments with your dog. Okay, I'm just going to go again close up for your mat work. You have obviously lots of footage of this that you'll see the dogs playing the game, but it's quite important your placement of food for this one and your hand placement as well, so that you're getting the calmness that you're looking for. Obviously, to start with, it's fake calmness, and as soon as you stop the feeding, the dogs are going to shoot away and do their own thing. That's totally fine. We can fake it till we make it and keep going with it. The more your dog's in that position and they're chilling out, the more their body is going to relax into it and it becomes natural to them. So to start with, you're going to have your treats in your hand, close your hand over, and then you're going to place both hands down on the mat. So it's important that both your hands stay here whilst you're working with your dog. What you'll see is if you're always coming up to refill, so if you've got your pouch behind you, a lot of people wear it behind them. If you've got your pouch behind you, your dog's going to constantly follow your hand, so they're never going to go into the settle that we're looking for because we're actually prompting them to follow us. So both hands on the mat, you've got your delivery hand is your free hand, and then your store hand is your one that you're keeping all your food in. Close it over. Make sure that it's not open enough that your dog can actually start stealing out your hand, because it's important that you're feeding onto the mat. So your dog's going to be on your mat. You're going to have 4 feet on ideally, but don't push it. If your dog's a little unsure, 2 feet coming on is absolutely fine to start with, and you can progress it on to 4 feet on. You're going to have your dog here. Most of the time it's ideal to be feeding like literally your dog's lying here, this is their front legs, and you're feeding right in between there. So you're basically prompting them into a down, and your hands won't need to move because there's already that space there for them to go into a down comfortably. So you keep your hand closed over, you can have one ready to go, pop your hands down onto the mat, and you're literally going to drip feed. So obviously I don't have a dog here to take the food, so I'm just going to be placing the food, just imagine it disappearing where a dog's eating it. So you're going to be taking your food, placing it down onto the mat, make sure you're not tempted to feed your dog's mouth, and then keep going, literally just think of a drip and tap. So it's like feed, feed, feed. These will all have been eaten up by your dog. You've fed onto the mat, so you're actually building value in this piece of equipment here. If you're feeding your dog's mouth, it really doesn't matter where they are, it goes with them. So you really need to be feeding onto the mat. So try not get caught up in feeding into their mouth. A lot of people do that. The dogs kind of rush them and you're kind of like fumbling like this and they're ending up getting it to their mouth. It's really important to just relax it back. Remember, you should be nice and calm playing this game, so you should feel calm. You'll see it starting to calm your dog the more that you play it. You'll feel calmer the more that you play it as well. So don't worry the first few times, you will be a bit fumbly, like you'll drop your foot like I've done here. It's fine, just pick it up, start again, put your hands on your mat, kind of take a breath and then be like, okay, let's go. And then you're going to drip feed. Like this. Nice and calm. If your dog's at you trying to get the food, just have your food like this. If you've got a dog that's quite bad at stealing from your hand, there is games that we play in the program that helps with hand manners, but if you've got a dog that you know is going to try and steal the food, kind of just cup it like this and then put your hand down. You can see that little space there. You can be grabbing your food from there. So you're popping your hands in the little gap, dropping it down. So there's not that whole amount that your dog can come and steal. You're just holding it in there. It's hidden in, dropping it down for them. You're going to be freeing them off at some point as well. So just make sure when you've done your free, so whatever your cue is going to be for your break, you're saying free, you're placing your food off for the first few. As you progress through, you can be throwing that off and making it more fun, but at the start, level 1, you're just going to be placing it off, so make sure it's quite obvious that you've came from this position feeding the mat, and you're placing it off the mat to let your dog go and collect it. When they come back onto the mat is when your hands should go back onto the mat, so try not tempt them to be coming on because you've left your hands here. So if you're doing your free, it's hands up, free, place off, let your dog come back on, hands down, and you're literally going to be drip feeding it. So just think about it like a drip and tap to start with, and that's usually a good time for you. If you feel that your dog's not settling into that, you just feed faster. So to start with, it'll be feed, feed, feed. But if your dog's quite high energy and you're needing to feed them faster to settle them into the game that you're playing, it'll just be feed, 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 and just keep going with that until your dog settles into it, then slow it down again. Just keep mixing it up as well. When you're on your mat, you don't want to be doing, like, let's do 10 on here and then an off. You want to be doing completely random amounts on here. Ideally, let your dog settle into it before you start doing your off cue, whatever it's going to be. So you don't want to be like 1, 2, off, 1, 2, off. You want it to be completely random so your dog can't start guessing what you're going to be doing next. So if you do 10, your dog will start guessing how long that takes you to do that, and then they'll be off before you're saying anything, so they're already doing the behaviour, they're anticipating what's coming next, and they're trying to work faster to get the food faster. So just keep it random, make sure that when you're doing your offs that they are random as well, and make sure your hands are coming up. As soon as your dog comes back onto the mat, your hands are back down and you're feeding the mat. The really important thing to remember here is you're feeding the mat, so you're making sure that you're not in the habit of feeding your dog's mouth. If they're on this mat, the food is on the mat before your dog collects it up themselves.